10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All righty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women in Sports. Thank you for joining us. I'm super excited to be here on our new platform. Shout out to KJ Kenny for doing everything he does and designing these sick backgrounds and making us look so cool. I am joined today by the Shelley Sheetz, incredible coach, human being. I'm so excited for her to do this first show with us on our new platform here on StreamYard and live stream. So yeah, thank you for being with us, Coach.
I'm excited. First show, right, Aaron? And I'm so honored to spend a birthday with you. Your birthday today. So happy birthday, Aaron.
Thank you. Yes. What better of a birthday than to, advance women in sports, talk to an incredible person like you. So wouldn't want to spend it any other way.
And shout out to you for your promotion too.
Yes. Yeah, lots of good things, lots of crazy things. Just keeping focused and working super, super hard and whenever I can. But yeah, I'm excited. Sweet. So I do want to do a quick Rising Coaches plug. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. www.risingcoaches.com. We have our Rising Coaches virtual conference, 11th annual. We're celebrating our 1-year anniversary of being a company. Check it out. It's going to be super awesome. We're also offering free trial memberships, and those opened up today. They will be available the 1st through the 10th. All access, full access to Rising Coaches content on our membership website. Get into the conference, things like that. Definitely go check it out. It's awesome. Any questions, just reach out to us. Also, other plug, Jenny Lynn Fisher. Let's go. I got my shirt in the mail today. What are the chances? Check her out. She's selling shirts to raise awareness for suicide prevention, and she's donating all of the proceeds. She's incredible. Her Twitter is Jenny Lynn Fish. So yeah, go check her out. But yeah, so joining us, Shelley Sheetz, super excited. She is a former Colorado Buff. She is one of the most decorated women's basketball players in school history. She played professional before it was even a thing. We're just going to put it that way. She's awesome. And she's now entering her 19th collegiate season at the University of Denver as their assistant coach.
Right there, Denver. Go DU.
Yes, check them out. Dosha Woods put together an incredible staff. I am so excited. We're actually down the street. I could wave to Shelley right now. I see CDU's campus right here. But yeah, so super excited to get started and get all the insight.
I'll do my best. To share.
Awesome. So yeah, so our first, my first question for you is, what was it like being a Buff?
I bleed black and gold. It was an amazing time to be up the road in Boulder, and very fond memories. We had an incredible basketball coaching staff and teammates. Just blessed for the 4 years that I spent up in Boulder. I wouldn't go back and change anything for the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just being in Denver, I feel like it's everywhere, literally all over the place. And it's just such a great school and such a great area. But not only were you a Colorado Buff, but you are one of the most decorated women's basketball players there to ever be like top 5 in every category, I feel like, in history and things like that. So kind of looking back on your career, talking about that, like, how did you pick Colorado, and then how were you really able to become so successful?
Small town Iowa kid. Grew up playing, and I knew from the get-go what I wanted to do. I was a little turd back then, 5'5", 5'6" on a great day, but just knew I wanted to get a college scholarship. So I did everything I could possibly do to get myself in a gym, on a driveway with a hoop. And yeah, it just kind of came full circle with, playing AAU was completely different back in the day. We just had AAU nationals. And so if you weren't the best team coming out of the state, you didn't play. It's get a ball in your driveway or go to camps. And then, recruiting time kind of came around. Back then you had home visits. You did all your home visits, then you did your official visits, and then you actually committed and you signed a couple days later. So it was very kind of a long drawn out fall. And, Colorado made the top 11 and then they made the top 5. They were my very last official visit ever. I took 4 and they were the last ones. And I knew Friday morning coming down Interstate 36. Anybody in Colorado know 36 coming down? I knew Friday morning where I was going. I just didn't tell anybody. And so I thoroughly enjoyed my weekend. But Colorado just fit and checked all the boxes, from the coaching staff to, the legendary, Hall of Famer Coach Barry. Barb Smith was the assistant. Jen Ward and they were on the staff, and it fit in. I wanted a football school. I wanted a big school, and I wanted an opportunity to play. And so, yeah, I was pretty determined. I knew exactly what I wanted. And like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. When I came into Colorado, I had opportunities, but I had to work for it. I mean, Coach Barry, if anybody knows Coach Barry, she's not going to give you anything. And so I had to work. I had to learn how to play defense because I was all about the shot on the offensive end. But during that 4-year career, we had, I believe, from skiing to volleyball to men's basketball, women's basketball, the football squad, everybody, that 4-year career, we were the most successful 4-year student athletes to go through Colorado for all the sports. And so it was pretty phenomenal. All my football guys playing pro ball. We had a couple pro volleyball players. And then obviously I went to school with Chauncey Billups. He was a little snot-nosed little freshman when he came in. So, but it was good times. It was really good times. And like I said, just really great coaches and great teammates to have us be successful. But we worked hard. We worked really hard to get where, to raise banners and get the bling in the spring, right, as we say.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like, you definitely don't just, do whatever and become the most decorated women's basketball player for sure. But talk about just like you stepping into your freshman year and how were you able throughout your 4 years to develop responsibilities to become a floor general? Like you are now such a great player development coach. Like you had to have cared about the little things clearly as a player. So how did you really just do that when you started?
So I would say that I developed into a leader. I was not a great leader my freshman year. There was one senior on the team, Debbie Jacobson, who had to take care of me because I was a turd. I'm not gonna lie, I was a turd. I thought I was everything. I came in with my chest out, and we're gonna win a national championship. We're gonna do this, and I'm gonna be an All-American. And you know what? Reality hits where I'm a freshman. I was handed the keys to a really expensive car because we had all the pieces of the puzzle to be really successful. But I guess the best way to describe my leadership is I was a kind-hearted butthole.
Yes.
I grew into developing into a leader. I was not a great leader my freshman year. I was not. And I continued to make mistakes, but I grew from them. I just, from body language, how to communicate with teammates, because I was so focused. I was so focused, and not every teammate's going to be that way. And I just couldn't understand that. And so there was a lot of conversations in coach's office about relax, Shelley. We're going to be all right. But
work on the delivery.
Yeah, exactly. I learned a lot about that. But just, I'm a basketball junkie. I love the history of basketball. I'm trying to, relay that message to the younger generation that, watching the WNBA, knowing, like, if you can't go somewhere where you don't know where you've been, right? And so, the history of the Immaculatas, the Delta States, I was just on an incredible Zoom on Tuesday with Billy Moore. I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's Billy Moore. And just really incredible. But I was always in the gym. In fact, Coach Barry had to have the need to apply speech, where I need to apply myself in the academics, like I do on the basketball court. And yeah, you know what? I worked it. I got it. I got it done. Got that, scholarship, and I got my degree, and it was all good.
Oh yeah. Hopefully that doesn't come full circle and your players are dedicated, but if it does, you know exactly.
I tell you what, Aaron,
Yeah,
if you look at my resume, I've been at really high academic schools.
yes.
And then, yeah, so here I am. So I'm learning from them. I learn from them every day.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that later. But so clearly 4 years wasn't enough for you. And which is amazing because there was not a WNBA and you played professional basketball. And I think that's so cool because even like my experience as like playing basketball in college and things like that, my collegiate career, like I was always like, this is 4 years. I earned this scholarship. I'm not going to pay for college. Like that's such a blessing. And then I like got to school and I was a turd my freshman year and just was not, but then I was like, wait, I don't want to play professionally. Like that's not, what I want. I want to, get a really good degree and learn and like then apply that to the real world. So that wasn't the case for you. What was it even like navigating having a professional career after college in a time that, that just wasn't super common, especially for women?
Well, so during my collegiate year, I was involved in USA basketball. I was very, very fortunate to wear USA across my chest. One of the highest honors you could have as a basketball player. But the funny thing about USA basketball is they want to pick the best team. And in my younger days, I couldn't understand that. But back then, I'm competing with, think about the 92 and the 96 Olympic team. Remember? It's kind of like our women's dream team was the 96 Olympics. Well,
absolutely.
my Coach Barry was actually on the staff for the 96 Olympic team. But I had USA basketball tryouts. I got cut 5 times before I actually made a team. I think they felt sorry for me and they just put me on a select team. But I was very honored with Carol Callan and Tracy Williams. That experience was unbelievable. But during that time, all these pro players were coming back that were over in Europe playing. Dawn Staley had just graduated and she was coming back. Then you had Nikki McCrae, you had Lisa Leslie, like all these players coming back. And so I was competing against them, however, not very well. But it was just an incredible experience. And so you kind of heard some stories here and there. But back then, you graduated and you played pro ball, if that's what you wanted to do. And over in Europe, there's very, very few agents. And also for you to go over and play in Europe, you could only have 2 foreigners on every team. And a foreigner would be like an American and an Australian playing on the Germany team. So I was fortunate, signed a contract with an agent. He got me to Wuppertal, Germany. And my teammate was Sandy Brondello, who's the Phoenix Mercury coach. We were teammates. And then, like all stories back then, which nobody shared, right? Because it was so competitive. So no one really shared about their agent stories or nobody shared about their experiences. Mind you, this was before internet. This was before cell phones. You had a calling card if you were lucky, which was expensive to call home. And so there were some really tough stories that came out of people going over to Europe and playing and not getting paid, getting cut, like all those things. And so everyone kind of kept those stories tight because it was so competitive. But when I got over there, Sandy Brundello was awesome. She spoke English. I didn't speak a lick of Germany. They gave me an apartment and a car, a stick shift car. I don't know how to drive a stick shift. I'm from Iowa. I get it. Everybody out there, I know. I never learned how to drive a stick. But I showed up a couple months in, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to send you home." And I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And I just got replaced. It is what it is. I got replaced. And so when I came back is when the ABL kind of was kicking into gear with Gary Cavalli. And I ended up being chosen as one of the 12 founding players for the American Basketball League. And so there was a lady, Lark Birdsong, who was trying to get the Colorado Explosion here in Denver. And so she and I connected once I was named one of the founding players, and we just really did a ton of marketing, speaking all over the city, and really tried to draw interest in us getting a team, and played in the ABL League here for 2 years in Denver for the Explosion. And then for the half year that we existed, I played in the Portland Power. And we had a squad. We had a squad. And the first 2 years, the Columbus Quest had gotten us, but man, that Portland Power team was awesome, coached by Lynn Dunn. She's a riot. I had a great time, but then I came home for Christmas and saw on the ESPN ticker that the league folded. And now what do we do? And during that half a year was when the WNBA was picking up. And so everyone was starting to play in the WNBA, and they took off. And so they took all the top ABL players into the WNBA, and I was not one of them. My pride set aside, I was not one of those top players. I'm fine with that. I enjoyed my ride, and so I got into the coaching thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Dosha just commented here. I'll pop it up. Here we go. She said, ABL, what y'all know about that? I would like to add, shout out to Doug Bruno camp. I went to his, I'm from Chicago, so super easy. DePaul was there. He always had a huge camp in Naperville. And I remember that's how they divide their teams. I think it's college, ABL, WNBA. And like, I remember getting served like the biggest education lesson, because I was like, what the heck is the ABL? Like, I was in there, like, obviously everyone to play on the WNBA and things like that. I did get all defensive player. I did get moved up to WNBA by the end of the week. Nice. But we got this huge sixth grade Aaron was like, whatever. But yeah, and we got this huge lesson on like what the ABL was. And I was like, holy crap, like that's so cool. And then how great it is to like now see the WNBA and what it is right now, and the games, and like the wubble and the orange sweatshirts, just everything going on with that right now. But I just had to add that, use our little feature, Coach Woods. I do know what the ABL is. I do encourage the rest of young players to know your history.
Absolutely. In the ABL, the difference between the ABL and the WNBA is we actually played during the basketball season, during football, college basketball. They paid us way too much money. I'll be the first one to admit that, and we didn't get enough sponsorship to sustain it. And that's why we filed bankruptcy. But we had all the top players. I mean, we were loaded with players, from Katie Smith to Nikki McCrae, Dawn Staley. I mean, a slew of players chose the ABL, but then obviously, everybody went on to the WNBA, and then the WNBA took off with the backing of Stern, and I'm just so appreciative that the WNBA continues to grow. Everybody needs to watch it. Everybody needs to do their research. If I call another recruit and they don't know who the GOAT is, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But
yeah, they're not gonna be playing in Denver.
But no, watch, because the finals are on. The finals are on. It's a great show. Those players, Sue Bird, unbelievable. Alicia Clark, I coached against Alicia Clark. She beat us up pretty good when I was first year at Denver the first time around.
Yeah.
But just great players, great athletes, and the message that they're sending out a vote, the racial and social unjust, absolutely.
Yeah, fighting the good fight, and they've been doing it for years. So absolutely. So professionally, you were like, okay, I'm done. Was it just kind of one of those, okay, I might as well be a coach now? Or what was the passion that really fueled you like stepping into your coaching career?
I had some incredible role models. My AAU coach, to my collegiate coach and Coach Barry, the professional level, Olaf, who is the assistant for the Chicago Sky, who's also Sandy Brondello's husband. He was our assistant in Germany, to Lynn Dunn, for the Portland Power. And then and the coaches that recruited me. I mean, I stayed in touch with all those coaches that recruited me, Lisa Bluter, and obviously Coach Dunn was, at Purdue, but Gail Gueston course. I mean, I had phenomenal coaches that recruited me. And so I just watched them. But I knew when I was in second grade, I was going to go to college on a scholarship. I was going to play pro ball, and then I was going to coach. So I knew early on, but it definitely was not a given. And so I watched how they carried themselves, kind of how they operated and worked with their staff, and then just kind of how they navigated, all of us players that weren't turds and weren't kind-hearted butthole leaders. So once my playing career happily retired, I just sent out, remember, this was before the internet. I had to send out letters and hope they called. Yeah. And they got the letter. That was the other thing too. Hope they got the letter.
Yeah. I can't even imagine that. Like, just the access. Yeah, no, that's just so incredible. So you get your first job, and just tell us about it. Where was it? What did they allow you to do? Did you come in with your chest puffed up then, and then, whatever, but yeah, just talk about that.
Yeah. So I got hired in June to coach at Washington State. So it was a brand new staff. She came, Jenny Przikwas was the head coach there. She came from the East Coast. So the whole staff was the East Coast people. But I got to Washington State in June. Like 2.5 weeks later, I'm on the road in July recruiting. And back then, I mean, you packed a bag and you were on the road for like 30 days. Like, find a laundromat, hotels, rental cars, you name it, right? I mean, that was your life back in the day. And really incredible opportunity. But I just relied on watching what my college coaches did, and what Coach Barry and Barb Smith did, and the recruiting process, right? Official visit. I was the hostess with the mostest for all the recruits, because I wanted to play with the best. So I'm like, no, I got recruiting. I will take her on. I'll be host every weekend. But so I kind of just took notes and kind of slid right in. But, after Washington State, I just knew it wasn't really what I was looking for. It wasn't the place for me. I think you can learn a lot from that situation. And so then I walked away, moved to LA. I missed the hiring season for coaching. So I stayed in LA, and then a year later, I got hired at the University of San Diego by Kathy Marpy. And then who I met, my brother from another mother, Eric Johnson, who is my dear friend and love him to death. We were assistant coaches at San Diego for 4 years. Things happen, right? You get let go. And so I ended up at Pepperdine with Julie Rousseau, Vanessa Nygaard, who's one of the unbelievable, most talented post coaches ever. Hilarious person, by the way, too. So I was at Pepperdine for 3 years. And then my buddy Eric, we came back again. It was kind of like a marriage. We were together for 4 years. We separated for 3. And then we came back here to Denver for 4 years. And then he got his dream job. And his dream job, he got the call up to go to Boston College and coach in the ACC. So we all packed up and moved to Boston, and we went with him. And I was there for 3 years. And then, you know what? I was not good for him. There was a time my 3rd year that people could say you got tired, you got burned out, whatever label you want to put on it. I just knew that I wasn't giving 100% of the time to Eric. And for my guy, I couldn't do that to him. And so a lot of calls, a lot of conversations, a lot of crying, him crying, I'm crying. I just needed to step away. So I took a 2-year timeout. That's all it was. I worked for a nonprofit at the K.L. Cancer Fund. And so I was their director for Play for K's for the collegiate level. I worked at Under Armour for a hot second. And then, I was ready to get back in it. And my guy, Joe Logan, at Loyola University in Baltimore, Maryland, didn't know him, but Eric knew him. And Eric's like, Sheetz, he's a great guy. Dude, Sheetz, he's a great guy. Yeah, go for it. And lo and behold, I shot him a call, email. I had a couple buddies too at Dayton. My guy, Ryan Gensler, and Calamity McIntyre helped me out with that. And yeah, I got to know Joe, and a couple weeks later, Joe hired me, and yeah. So, and then after that, Dosh got the job here, and I've known Dosha for years. We go way back. She's a Kansas City kid, and I played in the Big Eight. And so, didn't really cross paths like knowing each other, but we got to know each other through recruiting, sitting in a gym hours. And I talk to everybody who's listening now. I talk to everybody. If you're sitting next to me, I'm going to introduce myself and just start a conversation. And we hit it off, and I've known her for, oh my gosh, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years, maybe. And I'm just really honored, extremely honored that she hired me to be here on this staff, to be a part of her, first head coaching gig. And, I take a lot of pride and very honored that, I could be a part of the staff with Lindsay and Penny, as we call them, Rook, and Coach Dubs. We all have nicknames, but it's a big responsibility, and I want to do well for her. I want to do well for our current players here at Denver. I want to do well for our staff to be successful, but ultimately for Dosh to be really successful.
Yeah, Coach, so much in that right there. First off, I want to know all the incredible men coaches that helped carry, like linked arms got you through, you got them through, and also just your vulnerability. Like, it's so hard, I feel like, in the coaching industry to be like, I am not good, I'm not in it. And then to be able to have a relationship and a friendship, to then be able to talk about the fact that, like, it's not working, this isn't good, and ultimately, like, the players, and there's a bigger picture to it. So commend you on that for sure. That just, like, you're such an incredible person, and it's just been great hearing all of this, and letting everyone else hear all of this, and then being able to travel to so many, not just like not regular colleges, like some pretty sick colleges in some of the coolest areas. As I'm like watching our sunset right now, I'm like,
no, right? It's pretty, it's beautiful.
It's so cool. I don't know what's going on, but it's beautiful right now. Yeah. And then for you to just be able to, like, things come full circle. You kind of noted earlier, like, during your recruiting process, like, as a player, like, you kept in contact with people that you talked to. And I just want to know, like, I did the same thing. Like, anytime a coach reached out or called me, or I even, like, knew kind of right away that it wasn't going to work, I was like, thank you. Like, I appreciate it. And always kind of kept that communication and doing the same thing, like how that parallels into the coaching environment. Like, you guys are in the same gyms, you're at the same tournaments, you're recruiting the same players, but to then be able to still keep those relationships and be so humble about, like, you not being like a real life turd, and just being a good person and talking. And, like, coaches aren't coaches, like, they are people first. And I think you're just, like, the ultimate definition of that. You have a heart and love for the game. So I'm super excited to be so close. Hopefully I get to watch some games. Maybe definitely we'll keep in touch on that for sure. But yeah, to just kind of go into, like, you being at Denver now and the role you play on that staff. You're a huge player development coach, and I feel like that's just kind of like your bread and butter. You've helped create, foster so many incredible players during your time and stints at other schools. How did you come into that?
A lot of it relates back to just my growing up, right? So, in the driveway, emulating Michael Jordan, what Michael Jordan did, or BJ Armstrong, or Steve Kerr. I grew up watching those guys, play, being so close to Chicago. But, you can't build $1 million home on a crappy foundation. And eventually, the ball doesn't lie. We hear that line all the time in basketball, right? The ball don't lie, and all that stuff, right? When people yell that. But you can't sidestep fundamentals, right? Whether it's footwork. Footwork has everything to do with your shot, ball handling, being able to get by the defender, defending somebody. And, paying particular attention to that is going to help players traject themselves up to, playing time, to making a difference within the game, and then making a difference, obviously, raising banners, and hopefully, raising that trophy at the end and being one of the few that finish on a high note with a win. But I don't know. I'm a fundamental person. I don't think you need a lot of hoopla and, between the legs, behind the back, blah, blah, all that stuff. Just one move and just get to the rim, or one move and shoot your jumper. And always making sure that, you're focused on that. I call them EDDs, every damn day drills.
Yes. Oh.
So they're EDDs, right? Everyday damn drills. And you can get tired of them, you can get bored of them, but you know what? They're really important. And I think that if you have the EDDs every day, whether it's part of your warm up or drills that you do consistently, I think that's really important. But I guess that's kind of been my forte. But and the other thing is, as we're kind of going through this, I always talk to players. There's good turnovers and bad turnovers, right? But the biggest thing is no two crappies in a row. That's what we say. No two crappies in a row. You can make a crappy, like throw the ball out of bounds, or you take a contested shot, or you thought you were going to get in the paint and then you did all this doopsie do, and just don't do it twice in a row. That's all, because it's not like people come up the court and say, you know what, I'm going to turn the ball over right now. I'm just going to turn it over. No one ever has that thought process. And so, just really big of working with the players. I think open communication with them. I think at this level, it's not about changing their game. I think it's just really fine tuning it with the little things. I was working with a player today just on simple stepping in footwork to her shot. So hopefully that will help her. But we also talk about, players become players in the off season, before practice or after practice. Because during practice is when you become a team. That's when the team starts excelling. But you become a playa, not a player, a playa in the summer, before practice and after practice. And we talk about filling their bank. You have to have your bank full. Your bank has to be full by the time you start games. Because when you start playing games, and when I talk about bank being full, you're a much better ball handler. Your shot reps, you're putting making deposits into your bank with your shot reps, doing all those things. So then when the games start, girl, you're like withdrawn. You're just like withdrawn from that bank account because it's so full. Because when you play games, you need to get off your feet. You shouldn't be on the court very long. You're just fine tuning stuff. And so during the actual game season, you need to start withdrawing from that full bank. And so we talk to our players about that. And so we're all on the same level with that communication. So I've enjoyed that part of developing players. Uh-oh. I think we lost Aaron.
Yeah, that's all.
Uh-oh, you there? Whoops.
Are we back?
There you go.
Perfect. Okay. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but literally, what would this technology error be? Everything. Love it. Okay. That was all so incredible. People need to pull out pens and papers. I absolutely love that. I feel like that was like exactly how, like, I was lucky enough to have coaches very similar, all about that. Like, I knew when I stepped on the court, I could like look the best player in their face and be like, I worked harder than you, I shot more shots, I'm better fundamentally. Like, so incredible. So then just kind of talk about, you're stepping into your 19th season. You just moved across the country, and you are now surrounded by just such a such an incredible staff, a great school, things like that. But what really fuels you to keep going? What fuels you to figure out, what the next step is going to be, and to even, head out to Denver? What kind of was your thought process through all of that?
Well, the biggest thing, as I've navigated my coaching career, it's all about people and relationships. Absolutely 100%. And we can kind of get into, why I coach and things I've have done, but I just really think that it's about relationships. And, it wasn't that I didn't have a great relationship with Joe Logan. Oh, you there, Ann? You frozen again. Girl, you frozen. Uh-oh.
And
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You just frozen.
Oh my goodness.
It is all good. Uh-oh. I think Aaron's coming back. That's all right. I'll keep. There you are. I'll keep talking.
Are we good? Okay.
I'll keep talking. I can hear you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I just think.
Okay. I have no idea what's going on.
No worries at all. No, I just it's not only about relationships, but it's also about the players. And for 1 second, if you think this is all about you, yourself, no, it's not a me thing. It's a us. It's a we. It's our team. It's our squad. And I think that that's kind of how, I've been in my 19 years, just being a great communicator, being genuine. The players have to know that you care about them. And once that happens, you build that trust. And I think it's, you can do anything to show that that you care about the players. And it's just little things, like they call me the birthday coach. So when it's someone's birthday, I bake whatever they want. I'm not Betty Crocker or anything like that, but I'm all right in the kitchen. I can bake. But whether it's decorating the locker room with a Christmas tree, or leaving them notes in the locker room, whether they're struggling, or just say, hey, great job, you're doing awesome. So I think those are little things that you can, and it's not going out of your way. But I also think that as a coach, you have to be somebody who shows that they're invested, and you have to be prepared, and your players are going to sniff out a fake. I think that's the big thing too, that I would kind of talk to the younger coaches, is that if you're not prepared, your coaches are going to sniff you out and know that you're faking this and you're in it for the wrong reasons. And so I think that having a plan, being organized, you just can't show up for practice. You just can't show up for the game. And I think you have to be prepared. If you have a meeting at 9 o'clock, don't come walking in at 8:55, put your backpack down and come into a meeting. Like, you have to show everybody that you're invested, and that you care. Not only care about them, but you care about the program. And so I think that's really important from a coaching perspective. And I also think that too, when you're coaching, is that you have to admit when you're wrong, and you have to admit when you were unfair to a kid, and admit when you made a mistake in a game. Like, dude, I made the wrong call on that one. That was my fault. And I think that shows that you have the ability to take ownership, right? Because we're not perfect as coaches. Trust me, there's a lot of coaches up in the stands that tell us how we're not really good and they could do a better job. But I think that the players really can grab a hold of that with that leadership. And I also think that, I did this thing in May during quarantine. I was sitting there thinking that, every day as a coach, right? So coaches out there, think about this. We ask our players to show up every day. We ask our players to give 100% every day, right? You need to be invested and, you need to be locked in, right? How many times as coaches have we said that to our players? So I'm thinking, okay, well, what am I doing? What am I doing to show our players that I'm invested, that I'm giving 100%? And so what I chose to do in May, for 31 straight days, I ran 3.22 miles. So I ran a 5K every day for 31 straight days, and it equaled 100 miles for the month of May. And I wanted to see if I could do that, because there were days I didn't want to run. There were days it rained. There were days it was really cold. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. But I thought of our players. I thought of the players that I used to coach and how I've asked them to do this. Well, if I'm going to ask a player to do something, by God, I have already should have done it, whether it's a drill. So I will never ask our players to do something that I haven't done already. And I think that's something that I've kind of hanged my head on too, just as a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for not only sharing that answer, but just taking over the show, because I don't know what's going on with the internet.
Good.
But we should be good. Fingers crossed. No more interruptions. But yeah, no, I think that's incredible. I think it speaks to like your longevity in the profession. Something too that like I noted was, it's usually like after the show, people will be like, "Oh, what a great coach. They were awesome." Like, great. People were tweeting us before the show, like, "Shelly's awesome." And I was like, we haven't even had a show yet. And like, people are like, I was
Aaron,
like, oh, like,
no, I paid people to listen. Trust me, I paid people to listen, because I don't know who would want to. I really love people. I love people's story. I do this because I really love the game of basketball. But I also love the young people. They keep me young. I tell people all the time, listen, I will retire when I act my age. And last week I got a selfie stick. I was just excited as all can be. I mean, I don't know if you follow us on social media, hopefully, capital DU _ capital WHOOPS. Follow us, Denver women's basketball. I was so excited. And yeah, I just very happy to get a selfie stick.
No, she was. It was captured. Follow Coach Woods, follow their whole staff. It's so much fun. But yeah, even to just like go into that. So, Dosha Woods, first time head coach. There is no other more deserving person than her. It was just so incredible. We had her on our first social injustice panel, first social justice panel. Sorry. Woo. And then I was just like, we need to have her again. Like she was, like she'd shared with a few other, there was other people on the call, and I was just like, nope, I just want her on the show. But yeah, so first time head coach, such a worthy person for that position. What's it been like, with that fresh start, with you guys all coming together, not knowing each other? It's been a couple months, things like that. How have you been able to establish a new culture, create these relationships with a new team during an unprecedented time, as well as just learn how to work with one another?
Yeah, absolutely. The challenges of COVID, right? Taking over a new program. You can't have access to your kids. They come in for their temperature check. We escort them to the gym. We're on separate courts. We're coaching in the middle. We're 2 pods on each side of us, and we can't cross that line. And, definitely challenges, but you can't get caught up in that. It is what it is, right? And so there is a reason why we're here. We know that. And, we got to bring the energy. We got to try to connect with the players somehow, some way, as opposed to looking about what we can't do. Let's look about what we can do. And we can Zoom. That's the new thing, right? Zooming with them about their academics, just getting to know them. We have team Zooms. We have, a little chat room set up with fun games, getting to know them a little bit better. But yeah, I just, bringing the energy. You could say if you're juiceless, you're useless. And so you must bring the energy every day. And I have been told that I'm too positive and I'm a little crazy. I already know that, so you're not talking bad about me. I already know I'm crazy and goofy, but I just practice is my sanctuary. I love practice, and I get excited. I get giddy when they walk through the door. And every team I've been a part of, yeah, they could probably mimic me on what I do. But I just think, from coaching, you always have to be where your feet are. And I've done that throughout my career with the coaches I've been. Just be where your feet are. And you're on a job interview every day. And how you carry yourself, how you dress, people watch you. And if you do your job well, doors will open for you. And just be present every day, not always looking for like the next gig, or you want to be at a certain conference or at a certain level. No, be where you're at. Just be where you're at and do a great job. And like I said, doors will open for you. And it's never about me. It's never about, you guys. This is about us. And this is a we thing. And it's about our players. And I think working with Coach Woods, Dubs, and Penny, that's who we are. And so the connection has been really fluid. We're still learning each other. I've known Coach Woods for years, and Dubs, and we just got to meet Penny, although we call him Rook, because he's the Rook on the staff. But we're just having a good time and know our players. We haven't hit any adversity, right? We're not talking about playing time. We haven't lost a game. And we're still all getting to know each other. And I think that's the beauty of this. And there's a lot of things that we have to get done. And there are a lot of things that we have to do. You're never above anything. You're never above doing a job. And I think that's the other message too is, girl, we're getting the balls out. If we have to do laundry, we'll do laundry. My job is I'm the ball cleaner. So every 30 minutes we have to clean the balls. So I spray the balls and clean them, and you have to wait 5 minutes. And the other two assistants take the temperature of the players. And but I just think that we're trying to do everything that we can so Coach Woods can just focus on being a head coach and the best head coach, and her navigating who she wants to be. I also think that, for younger coaches, they always say, well, I want to be a head coach. I want to be a head coach. Well, saddle up, because you don't know everything that's on that head coach's plate. You don't know all the emails or all the text messages or all the phone calls that they're getting. And so most head coaches throughout their entire day, all they're doing is putting fires out. That's all they do is put fires out or ask or answer questions. And so I'm hoping to, be that veteran assistant to where I can help take some of those things off of Coach Wood's plate. So then she can just kind of really be who she needs to be as the head coach of our program. But people say, oh, I want to win. Well, great. Everybody wants to win. Or, I work hard, so I should get that job. Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to quote Eric Johnson. Working hard is like breathing. It's just what you do. It's just what you do. And so I just think if you're honest, you tell the truth, whether or not it's, if you're at fault, just tell the truth and be honest and upfront and be loyal. I think that you'll go really far, in this business, for sure.
Take notes, people. Take notes. Literally. We do have one quick viewer question. I thought it was really good. No, it was really good, I promise. So Jennifer Scott, via YouTube Live, thank you. How hard has it been for players coming back from a summer of not having access to gyms to work out, or not being able to play another, like one of not being able to play against other players because of lockdowns?
Sure, great question. I mean, and we're feeling this all across the country, right? And it's not the players' fault. It's not the players' fault. We talk to our players too. Listen, we're rusty. Like, we are rusty as coaches. So don't think we have all of our crap together. We do not have our crap together as far as being on the court. I mean, our language and getting back into that flow of coaching, right? So we're in the same boat as the players. Like, our players haven't touched the ball in, I think it was like just a hair over 200 days. And everybody was in different ways of, okay, they did have a ball, but they didn't have a hoop, or they had a hoop and a ball, and some didn't have any. And so we're all in this together. We're all together in this. And so we're really honest with our players. Like, listen, we're struggling too, getting back into the flow of things. And, and there's going to be challenges, right? We're not in coaching shape, and they're not in game shape, right? They're not in practice shape. And so we're really taking it a little bit slow with them. We don't want soft tissue injuries later when we start competing and getting really into full court and really physical drills. And so we're just taking it bit by bit, for the players as they're getting to learn a new staff as well. And so it just kind of, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. So, but if you think for 1 second us coaches have this figured out, no, we're in the same boat as the players. So if you're coming walking into practice like you got everything, no, you don't have it figured out. No, good luck.
As a retired athlete, former college basketball player, that just like puts me at peace. And I really hope other coaches are doing that and are honest and vulnerable with their players during this time. I think it's, like all the things you just said. Like, I didn't even think about like coaches not being in coaching shape. Like, I was like, wow, like crazy.
And I just think too that, when you're in this profession, you have to give up of yourself for the greater good of the team. The players do, the coaches do, we all do. And man, I tell you what, I will quit on myself before I quit on our staff, our players, or even my friends. I will do anything that needs to get done. And if that's quitting on myself, by all means. I stole that from Michelle Obama. I listened to her podcast. That was great. First Lady Obama, your podcast was on point. But and also a player-led team is more successful than a coach-led team. And when Coach Woods got in here, she talked to the players about what is going to be our culture. Us coaches think that we have what we want, but it's about the players. And so you're going to see on our social media, follow us, DU_WHoops. We have #YourCraft, and you're going to see now every Monday what each of the letters mean to our team. And it is player-led, and you'll hear the players talk about what craft means to our program. And so that's really important to us as we carry ourselves each and every day about, our craft.
Coach, last question for the night. Yeah. What mark do you want to leave on the young women you coach and the sports industry as a whole?
Oof. See, I don't even think that deep.
You do, though. You need to brand some shirts. You need to sell some taglines. I'm telling you. I'm going to run back through this, and I'm sending them to you because you got to start making some money off them. They're great. They're so great.
It's all borrowed. I just, I've just been very blessed to be a part of some amazing coaching staffs. I feel very honored that players have allowed me to coach them. And, the relationships I have with players in my first year at Washington State and every stop I have made, I think it's been 6 different universities. I still stay in touch with, majority of those players I've coached. And that, to me, man, that's just it. Yeah, I'm just honored that they allowed me to coach them. And I'm extremely blessed and honored that these coaches allowed me to be on their staff. yeah, I don't know if that's a legacy, a stamp, but I'm just very honored that people allow me to do this and that they want me to be a part of their staff and support them. And yeah, because it is all about the head coach and making sure that you're doing everything as an assistant. And I love being an assistant, absolutely love it. And I've had a lot of people say that I need to be a head coach. Very flattered and very honored that they think of me at that level. However, I am just honored that to be here with Coach Woods and Dubs and Rook at the University of Denver, and just really excited about building this program and getting some BITS, the bling in the spring, raising banners and getting rings and graduating our kids and having a great time doing it.
Shelley Sheetz, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. She is a former Colorado Buff. She is one of the most decorated women's basketball players in history. And she is now entering her 19th season at the University of Denver as the assistant coach. Coach, thank you so much for being here and for sharing and for being who you are and amazing. I am so thankful to have been a part of this. So thank you so much.
Aaron, dear friend of ours at the university with Coach Woods, Penny, Rook, you're more than welcome. Happy birthday. Congratulations. Absolutely on your promotion. You guys are just crushing it in women's sports and rising coaches, and just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. And very honored to be on tonight. The very first one.
We'll get better.
Hey, no, I tell you what, the bar was set real low by me being your first guest. So everybody else raise the bar. You're good.
No, not at all. But yes, thank you so much. I'm so glad to have women like you in the industry to look up to. So yeah, and thanks everyone for joining. Till next time.
Thank you. See you guys.